ॐ गुरुरेव घति गुरुमेव भजे गुरुनैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरुः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरो मम पाहि गुरो सच्चिदानन्तरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतः क्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुन्द जनार्दन कृष्ण गोविन्द नारायण हरे अच्युतानन्द गोविन्द माधवा सच्चिदानन्द नारायण हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण मुकुन्द जनार्दन कृष्ण गोविन्द नारायण हरे। सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः। We are saying Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana and we are seeing the different Leelas of Bhagavan Krishna. And in my last video, we saw how Bhagavan Krishna, as a 6-year-old boy, he controlled the Kaliya, the dark serpent, and how he danced on the hoods of Kaliya, and which is very famously known as the one of the most important Leelas of Bhagavan, Kaliya Nadana. And Kaliya, after hearing the advice of Krishna, it went along with its friends and family to the sea. And slowly, Krishna, he walked towards and he climbed on the banks of the river Kalindi, and all the Gopas, Gopis and his friends and Yashoda Devi, Nanda and all the Gopas, they just hugged and embraced Krishna and they just carried him on the shoulders and they walked as if in a procession to Vrindavana. So they all celebrated the safe return of Krishna. So they all were celebrating, singing, dancing, and they were very good feast that day, and they all exchanged gifts, and like that they just celebrated this important Leela of Bhagavan, because he saved that village itself from that poisoning water. No one really do not know what happened to that water, why suddenly all the birds flying over it died, and what all cattle who came and drank water, they also became unconscious. So no one understood what's happening to the Kalindi river, but it was Krishna who found it out, and he asked the Kaliya to relieve this the river also. So they all celebrated like this, and it was a summertime. But because of the presence of Rama and Krishna in that village, no one really felt the heat of that summer there. There was greenery everywhere, and the rivers were flowing with full speed, and there was a surplus water around, and the forest was filled with the flowers and fruits, and everywhere there was greenery. And because there was a lot of water in the rivers and small tanks or any lakes, all that, cool breeze came to the village, so they didn't feel the heat at all. They felt it was just like spring season, and Rama and Krishna played with the other boys, all the cowhead boys. They were singing, dancing, playing flute. So they enjoyed the life like that. So Rama and Krishna, they enjoyed that Gramya life, that the life of that village people. They mingled with them and they celebrated the life itself. One should say that they celebrated this life. And they were happily living like this. Always they play. They take the cattle to that mountain places or in the forest. They will leave the cattle for grazing and they will play all sort of games. So like this, one day, Rama and Krishna, they decided to play. But Krishna noticed one Ashura among that cowhead boy. Pralambasura came there disguised as a Gopa. So he mingled with these other boys and other children. And Krishna understood who he was, but he pretended as if he didn't notice him. And these children, what they decided was, let us divide ourselves into two groups. One under the leadership of Rama and the other under the leadership of Krishna. So we will play also all sorts of games. And if one group fail in one game, then they have to carry one person from the other side, opposite group. And they have to go one round and then come and leave that ball. So that was the rule, that was the prize actually. So they played many games. Sometimes the group of Rama, they failed. So they carried one person from the Krishna's group on their shoulders. Sometimes Krishna's group failed. So they carried one person from the Rama's group on their shoulders and they go around and then leave them. So like this they were playing. Now at this incident what happened was, Krishna's group failed in one game. So what they decided was, so the rule was, one person from the Krishna's group has to carry one person from the opposite group on their shoulders. And Krishna very intelligently asked this Ashura who was disguised as a Gopa, that is, he was Pralambasura. Krishna asked that boy to carry Balarama on his shoulders. So that Gopa, that is disguised, that Pralambasura disguised as a Gopa, carried Rama on his shoulders and he went on round. But he did not stop there. He was running to a faraway distance. And Rama said, what is this? Leave me down. But he won't listen. He was running with the speed of the wind. And now Rama understood that this is some Ashura and it is the play of some Ashura. And what he did was he gave a hard blow on his head. And the head was actually open, and all the things inside the head came out, and Pralambasura died. Actually, this Pralambasura created a lot of problem for the Devas also. So when Rama killed Pralambasura, all the Devas also enjoyed that incident, and as if nothing happened, Rama came back to the group and they played. They played under a big banyan tree and they were completely immersed in their play, and they did not even notice where their cattle went. What these cattle did was, they were grazing and they were like this. They went to a faraway place. They went inside the forest. They crossed from one jungle to another jungle and they went like that, and they just reached the top of the mountain. And there was a forest fire. So these cattle, sheep and all that, calves and all that, they cannot move any further in that heat. So they were affected by that heat. They cannot come back also because they do not know the path also. So they were drooping their heads and standing like that, and there was so much heat, and everyone was so scared to see that forest fire advancing forward. So what Rama and Krishna and all the group did was, after some time they could not notice this cattle. So again they thought that Brahma did this trick. But Krishna and Rama and all the other Gopas, they just traced the footpath, the footprint of this cattle. And they were just following the footprint of this cattle, and they were going, they were just crossing from one jungle to another jungle, and at last they found all of them standing still on top of the hill. And the forest fire was so advancing forward, and they could not bear that heat. And when these cattle, they saw Rama and Krishna, they just ran towards them and hid behind them. So what Krishna did was, he said, Ma bhaishtaha, do not fear, all of you do not fear. Lochanani nimilayat, you all close your eyes. Krishna said like this to all the gopas. And even the cattle, they all closed their eyes. What Krishna did at that time was, he consumed all that fire. All that fire he consumed. And not only that, when these gopas, they opened the eyes, they were surprised to see that they were again standing under that banyan tree. So they were so surprised to see all this, and they surmised that these Rama and Krishna were superhuman beings. So when they went back to their houses, their home, they said to their parents and all the people that this Rama and Krishna were some superhuman beings. But the Grama people, that the village people, they concluded that this Rama and Krishna were not superhuman beings. They have some divinity in them. That's how they saw Rama and Krishna. And they were surprised to see, hear all this incident. He just cleared the Yamuna river from that poison, and he consumed all this forest fire. So with this, and he killed many people who were so dangerous for the whole society itself. So they were, somehow they surmised that these two are some divine beings. Now the summer season passed on, the rainy season came, and the rainy season was a little bit difficult for the cows as well as for these cowherd people, because everywhere it will be water and a little bit difficult, and the rivers were completely turbid. They cannot use that water also. In rain, the cattle cannot graze. But however, even in that heavy rain, Rama and Krishna took the cattle for tending, and they will go, then suddenly there will be rain, so they will all hide and or take shelter under some big trees. Because it was the rainy season, these people cannot go out often, so they stay in their home only. So often Krishna used to play the flute, and all the gopis, they enjoyed that flute. All the gopikas, they enjoyed that music, and they praised Krishna for playing that music, and that is the Venu Gita. That is the Venu Gita, is the gopis praising Krishna playing the flute. How beautiful you are playing, Krishna, like this. They praise Bhagavan for playing that flute, and that is the Venu Gita. And life went on like this, and the winter season came. So when the winter season came, all these gopis, they observed a vrata that is known as the Katyayini vrata. Katyayini Devi is actually another form of Parvati Devi. So they worship that Devi to get a good husband. So all these gopis, they worship Katyayini Devi, and they observe this vrata for 1 mandala, that is nearly 48 days. So the rule of that vrata is they have to take bath in the Kalidi river early in the morning. There is the winter season, and they have to go to the river early in the morning before 4 o'clock. They have to take bath in that river, and they have to form an image of that Devi with that sand of that river. And they will form an image of that Devi and pluck some flowers from that forest and decorate that Devi with that flowers, and pluck some fruits also from the forest. They will offer that fruits to that Devi, and throughout that day, they will only eat that fruit. They won't take any other food also. So they worshipped Devi like this by chanting the Katyayini Devi mantra, that is to get good husband, which is very famous mantra. Katyayini Mahamaye Mahayoginyadishwari Nanta Goba Sutam Dehi Pati Me Kurude Nama. Katyayini Devi, who you are, that Akilandeshwari, please give us this Nanda Gopa's son as our husband. So like this, they worshipped Katyayini Devi to merge in Bhagavan Krishna in Madhura Bhava. The Madhura Bhava is a very strong feeling of emotion, very strong emotion. And it comes naturally to all beings because we all love something. The love is inherent in us. That Madhura Bhava is inherent in all of us, in all the beings, but it is directed towards our worldly life, so we do not feel it. When it is directed towards Bhagavan, towards any form of Bhagavan, then it is said as Madhura Bhava. So they wanted to merge Bhagavan in Madhura Bhava, so they observed this vrata, chanting this mantra. So what happened one day was, they were about to complete that vrata. It was nearing that 48 days. So one day, all these gopis, they did not take this vrata as a burden, or oh, I have to do this vrata to get Krishna. Like this, they didn't think. They enjoyed this vrata. So one day, early in the morning, these gopis, they sang the song praising Krishna, and they were holding hands, and they were walking very happily towards the Kalindi river, and they just took bath in that river. While they were taking bath and they were playing and they were taking bath, what Krishna did was, he went to that place and he stole all the Vastra of the gopis and went and sat on top of a Kadamba tree, on the top branch of a Kadamba tree. From there, he was playing flute. So the gopis were so surprised. Oh, Krishna is here. When did he come here? How did he come here in this early morning? They were surprised, and Krishna was on the top of that Kadamba tree. He said to these gopis, "Gopis, come here and get your clothes. I have stolen all your clothes. All your clothes are with me. So come here and get my clothes." So the gopis were so surprised and they were first ashamed. And they said, "How can we come there, Krishna? Please give us our clothes." But Krishna was so adamant. And at last, how long can they take bath in this chill water, that also in the winter season? How long can they stay there? So they came out worshipping Krishna and they received their clothes. So this incident should be understood in a spiritual perspective. If one see this incident in a worldly perspective, then we may not get the deep, profound message of this incident or this Leela. And we will see this incident as an awkward way only. That is the difference between the tamasic mind and the sattvic mind. The people who are rajasic and the tamasic, they see this incident as a worldly incident. But there is a deep, profound meaning for this incident when we see this incident as in the sattvic perspective, with the sattvic mind. The jiva, it resides inside this body. So any costume or any dress is the cover for this body. The body itself is the cover for that jiva, who is that Bhagavan. So Bhagavan resides as the kshetrajna, knower of the field inside this body, and this body is said as the kshetra, the cover, and this any material cloth is the cover for this kshetra. So all this, that is the kshetra, that is the body or the material that covers the body, must be taken as anatma. Bhagavan is that atma who is residing inside. So to reach that atma, one has to shed away this anatma. One should not be conscious of this body, mind, or that cover for that body. That is the concept behind these avadutas. They just walk around this world unclad. That is the concept behind this. Even some siddhas, they live in the forest they were barely clad because they do not feel the presence of the body. Only if they do not feel the presence of the body itself, how can they take care to cover it? So that is the concept behind it. That is the spiritual message behind it. So at that time, these gopis, they were avadutas. So they were not aware of that in that bhakti. to merge in Bhagavan in that Madhura Bhava, they were not aware of their anatma, that is their body or that clothes. So in that bhakti only, they walked outside of the river and they received the cloth. And Bhagavan wanted to test the mentality of these gopis, whether they have reached to that level to make Bhagavan as their own. So that is their prarthana, isn't it? That is their vrata. I wanted to have this Bhagavan as my husband, means that jiva must have raised to that level to own Bhagavan or to merge in Bhagavan. This jiva, if it wants to merge in that Paramatma, then there are some conditions. It should not be conscious of that anatma. Only then this jiva can merge with that Paramatma. Actually, this dress or this material cover indicates all the false values, like that status of a person, of fear, shame, personality of a person, everything. So many false values indicate the dress or the material cover. So one has to get rid of all these external false values. These false values are the great obstacle for this jiva merging with Bhagavan, this jiva merging with that Paramatma. So Bhagavan Krishna, he wanted to make that these gopis to be unaware of that false values. Only then they can merge in that Paramatma. The gopis dared to come out of that river unclad, marks the purity of the gopis. That is the dharma of the Paramahamsa. Now the gopis have become avaduta. This incident, that is the Vastra Harana Leela of Bhagavan, is the prelude to the Rasa Leela. The Rasa Leela, one must understand with that complete spiritual perspective, or otherwise we will get the wrong message from the great incident of Rasa Leela. So this incident, that is the Vastra Harana Leela of Bhagavan, is the prelude for that Rasa Leela. And this episode in Krishna's life must be seen and studied and understood with the proper perspective, or otherwise there is nothing Krishna is not going to lose anything. We will lose that right perspective. Because Krishna is Bhagavan, that universal consciousness. He is not like as ordinary human being. His form itself is a Chit Swarupa. He is beyond that five senses. And moreover, he was only 6 years of age. Not only that, he is that universal consciousness. That universal consciousness has taken a form. We all have form because of our prarabdha karmas. But Krishna doesn't have any prarabdha karma. He has taken form in this world to help this world come out of adharma. So that message should be understood in the proper sense. So that is the another famous Leela of Bhagavan, Vastraharana Leela of Bhagavan. I will come in my next upload with another Leela of Bhagavan Krishna. Om Namo Narayana Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Om Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.